Hey there, it's Ben from patternprofits.net bringing you our weekly watch list. IWO not looking so hot here. Now back below the volume shelf point of control, finding resistance at anchored VWAP from off of the high and year to date anchored VWAP. So just not able to push through, rolled over last week. It's not all bad out there because if we do look at FFTY, which is the IBD 50. We had this symmetrical triangle, came back and retested. If this bounces here, would certainly help as far as growth is concerned. PDP, the other one I like to watch. And that one just looks like it's putting in a handle up here near those prior highs. So not all bad. The other two don't look nearly as bad as IWO, but let's get right into the watch list. MP, I discussed this one last week. We have handoff method, the swing low here, anchored VWAP, tags here, another anchored VWAP there. We are right there testing that level. That handoff method comes courtesy of our friend Brian Shannon over at Alpha Trends. If this can bounce right here, maybe challenge that 38.98 pivot again. It tried to go a couple weeks ago, wasn't able to hold, but now has a bit of a VCP look to it with these higher lows. So I have that one on the radar. I also have Celsius. Our good friend Celsius here came through. We had earnings on Thursday, retested that descending trend line that it pushed through back here. Now you have an inside day. Just watch how that handles anchored VWAP. And if it does come out of the inside day to the upside, may give a run back towards that 83 pivot. I also have new merchandise, Curve, CURV. That's Torrid Holdings. And this one, IPO 28.98 was the pivot, came through there on good volume, like that volume pattern. Bearish outside here, so I'm assuming it's going to come back and retest, maybe even go sideways a little bit, allow the moving average cloud to catch up. I do think that one should be on your radar though, with that nice looking volume pattern, as well as figs kind of in the same area here. This retail, this one had a nice recovery on Friday, bullish outside day. Anchored VWAP from the IPO is this lower one. Anchored VWAP from off the high is this upper one. It did close above that level, looking for upside continuation here. Great volume leading up into that EPS report last week. So any upside continuation there on FIG should look good. You have a pivot above, just above 50. So 42.33 close would be a nice run there if it can get up to those prior highs. INMD, this one's been on our radar for quite a while. This is a peg setup and anchored VWAP from off of the power earnings gap. If we bring this over, you'll see holding volume point of control. Volume shelf is right there too. What we want to see is strength on this one, push through the cloud there, but basically using this area, the anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap, as well as a volume shelf and point of control to manage risk, but on strength only. We also have docs. Careful here because some supply is coming to market this week. Want to keep an eye on that anchored VWAP from off of earnings. Big volume, inside day here to work with too. If there wasn't the supply coming in the secondary, which they announced in the earnings report, I'd be more excited about it, but want to see how it handles that. You do have anchored VWAP here, volume shelf, point of control right there too. Wouldn't mind at all to see this go sideways a little bit more. You can see because it's new merchandise, cloud is down here, so wouldn't mind seeing that catch up the price. But with this type of volume and this type of move, it went from the 50s to 85, should be on your radar. This one I'm going to show you just because I had so many people asking me about it. Palantir, yes, they did. It had a nice day, put in a great report and had that move. Now you've got an inside day, but you have the anchored VWAP from off of the high, as well as a year-to-date anchored VWAP above acting as resistance. You do have an inside day there right at the volume shelf point of control, but I'd like to see it come out of there and get above both of those anchored VWAP levels before getting too aggressive. Just be aware if you take it here, you've got potential resistance just above. Now, on the other hand, if it does come out of that inside day with some strength, takes those out, now you've got the potential for more upside, and we know this one can run when it gets going. I also have another one that's new merchandise, KNBE, no before. What I like about this one is you ended up having that big earnings day here, had the nice move. Then you have anchored VWAP. This is IPO anchored VWAP. And this anchored VWAP off of the high, which created that little pinch, and you're inside there. So if you come out to the upside, you're in really good shape. And if you bring over that volume shelf point of control, you can use these levels to manage risk on strength. So if it makes a turn, comes out to the upside, then you use these levels to manage your risk. But I do like this big volume that we saw here and the solid move on the power earnings gap. One more, I have Phenom. This is an old friend of mine in the energy patch. If energy is strong, I think this pays a 7% or so dividend now too. But you are right there at anchored VWAP from off of the high. You're also at anchored VWAP from the swing low. This is anchored VWAP from off of the high. You've got anchored VWAP from off the swing low just below. Cloud support, volume shelf, point of control. This is what we call confluence. Everything is lining up right here in this area. So what you want to do is see the turn on strength. And again, watch energy as a whole, because there's a good chance if energy is strong, this one will make the turn. You do have a good volume pattern here. And even on this little pullback late last week, it came on very light volume. That's all I've got into the beginning of the week. Anything else I'll share with you as the week goes along. I hope you guys have a great trading week, and I will see you over on FinTwit.